carry this thing to class. And I get there, and I'm just setting up my notes and stuff, and I open it up, and I take a sip, and I burnt my mouth.
Oh.
So this thermos works so well that
Yeah.
I carried it through minus 25 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes, and then got in, and it was too hot to drink still. But I just wasn't expecting it to work that well, because I'd never had a thermos that did that.
That was actually good.
Yeah, so I'm standing there in front of like 200 people, and I almost spit my coffee out everywhere, clearly like in some distress.
And then like the rest of the lecture, you're like having a hard time like
Yeah,
articulating.
Exactly, and I'm always nervous about going to grab my cup. It's still too hot. Yeah, so it's just funny that I got super embarrassed on my first time using this because it actually works.
Yeah. Awesome. We will link the thermos in the show
Yeah,
notes.
exactly. Make sure it's an affiliate link so we get, all the proceeds.
Yeah, we will definitely have one of those.
Yeah.
Maybe. Welcome to episode 7 of the Arena Regulars podcast. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we are regulars at MTG Arena.
Yeah.
It's our favorite bar.
It's our bar of choice. Yeah.
Yeah, now that we can't go to bars, we just sit and drink beer and play Arena.
Yeah, honestly, I'm having more fun, so.
I kind of am having more fun, and I get less drunk.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, I'd say on average.
Yeah, I'm usually not as up as late as I was before.
Right.
But we got a great show for you today. I know I say that all the time, but whatever. This one's good too.
Yeah, they're all good. So
We're talking about Historic Brawl that we kind of discussed last week, and then we have a big thing. We are talking about Arena Etiquette.
Yeah.
Emotes, all about that kind of stuff.
If you've been on Arena, you've encountered this type of thing before.
Yeah, so we're going to go into the do's and don'ts and what we think we would like to see. But before we get to that, each week we both bring a beer, we drink our own, we drink each other's, and then we rate them on a scale of bronze to mythic, and then choose the best for last. So with that, Jeff, what is on tap? What are you drinking?
So today I brought a beer called Electric Unicorn. It's by Phillips Brewing, which is out in BC, and it's a white IPA. 6.5%, and what got me is the can is literally a unicorn in space with lightning coming out of its horn.
Yeah, and it's like very neon and like
Yeah.
kind of 80s feel.
Some people say, I don't know if marketing works that well. I'm totally in the other camp.
Yeah.
Marketing works 100% on me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I buy stuff like, it's not like they're tricking me. I'm like, I'm going to buy this because I like their marketing.
Yeah. And then if you don't like it, the beer, you're like, whatever, at least the can was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I got Viva La Stout.
Oh, nice.
It is from Sawdust Brewing Company. It is a chocolate raspberry cookie stout, 5.9%. And the can is just like white with like a cookie and maybe Comic Sans font.
Yeah, we were undecided on whether that was Comic
It kind of looks like the font that like from the Peanuts comics.
Right.
It kind of looks like that. I don't know what that's called.
I
but
think it wasn't Comic Sans, but it's kind of in that art style.
it has that kind of like, I don't know, wiggly line
Right.
area. But anyway, it tastes good. It tastes like a raspberry cookie stout.
You just had to out-weird me this week after last week.
Yeah, well, I really felt bad about last week not doing the weirdest one, so I thought I'd really go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But in Magic news, this is the last week of the season. So
yeah.
I need a push to get Mythic.
Yeah, that was your goal for this
That
season,
was my
so-
goal, and I am not really that close. So,
Well, you've been drafting Kaladesh. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it in Constructed, and I've been playing Mono Red, and then there was one night I was just like on a hot streak, just like going straight through. I think I was like Diamond 2, almost to Diamond 1, and then the next night just went all the way back there.
Yeah.
I just lost it. So
Then you cracked a beer to reward yourself.
yeah, but too early.
Played
I cracked that Mythic beer too early.
played some deck that you hadn't tested. And...
Yeah, that's not great. But then next week, actually, very exciting for us, we will be drafting our Zendikar Rising Championship fantasy teams.
Yeah. So we'll go over again next week. We've talked about it before. We'll go over it again, exactly what that is.
Yeah, and like our point system, everything. But look forward to that because we are...
I know I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Can't wait to do that. But Jeff, I kind of talked about what I was doing this week, but what have you been doing in Arena?
So, honestly, my Arena week, have you ever had one of those weeks where it just feels like no matter what happens in the game, you're always going to lose? Like, the cards are going to line up in such a way, whether it's top decks or,
Yeah.
you just always lose.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of my week.
Yeah.
I was losing in draft. I was losing
Just
in constructed.
everything.
I was losing in brawl. Up until last night when I think I won like 4 matches in a row. It's like, okay, the curse is over.
Yeah.
The week before, I had the opposite where no matter, how bad I played, I seemed to always end up on the right side of things.
You just like stumble to the finish line. You're like, how did this happen?
I don't know why I won that game.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Last week I was paying for
yeah,
that
for
luck.
all. It's all that like bad juju's coming back around.
Yeah, exactly. It always comes back around.
It always comes back around.
So you got to enjoy it when you're in the winning
exactly.
phase.
Yeah, and that'll come up again when we're talking about etiquette. So
right.
don't forget, it always comes back around.
Yeah.
But Historic Brawl. So we had a nice event this week. People are always really excited about this one, and I'm kind of new to some people. I haven't been able to play it before, so this was fun for me.
Yeah, I think in the past it was always just like a Friday night Magic thing.
Yeah, just like a one night thing.
And this time they let you play it for a week. So
yeah, I think it was like 6 days. But yeah, to me it was good. I played a few rounds. There was only like 3 prizes you could get from it in card styles, but at least one was a fatal push, so that's good.
Yeah, I don't like that fatal push
picture
art as much as the original.
Yeah.
So that's the one I always had on MTGO because it was cheaper. So I always played with that art. So maybe I resented a bit from.
Because you're like, instead of now where it's like this special thing that like not everybody has.
Yeah.
Yeah, but.
But hey, it wasn't that expensive. I think it was 2,500 gold, and you just got to play as much Historic Brawl as you wanted.
Yeah.
So that was
which is good, and it's longer than some of the other ones.
Right.
Which is cool. My kind of thoughts about it. Yeah, I think Brawl should just be Historic Brawl.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see exactly why we would have 2 separate brawls. I know that obviously Brawl is supposed to be like the standard rotating format, all this kind of stuff, but to me it feels like most of the players that play would much rather have a non-rotating format to invest in. I definitely thought about that when I was making decks for it. I didn't want to use a lot of wild cards, knowing this is an event that doesn't happen all the time. So do I use a wild card for a card I'm not going to use in anything else? So that was one of those things that was like, I even was feeling it, and I'm not even like one of the newer players that's like, I'm really excited for this thing.
Right.
So that if it was around a lot, like if I could play Historic Brawl all the time, I would feel a lot better about using all those wild cards. But
right, but exactly, what's the really cool thing about Brawl within the arena metagame? It's that, like, if you are not you have to use your wild cards wisely, right?
Yeah.
But while you're playing, you might just pick up a rare, 1 copy of this rare, and 1 copy of this rare.
That's true.
And 1 copy of that rare. And for Brawl, that's all you need.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about, I can't craft 4 copies of this to make a standard deck out of it because that's just too much of a commitment.
Too many mythics of like the one mythic you're never going to use besides that one deck.
Exactly. Yeah. And you just kind of have these one-ofs. And that pairs perfectly with Historic, where the whole point is the cards you picked up on Arena, you can play them here. They don't have to be current.
Exactly. So, especially with the Drumstart cards, because you only get one of them from the packs that you were playing.
Yeah, exactly.
So that worked very nicely into there.
So Historic and Brawl just seem to be like giving players, they have the same philosophy of giving players some way to use this collection that they've built without having to always be playing some standard deck that requires 4 copies of every.
Or even a historic deck that you're trying to build that you weren't playing during whatever time. And so but yeah, with that, what decks were you playing and what you were playing against, and what was your experience?
I played exclusively Tiny Bones. I had ambitions to play all these different commanders, but I just had a lot of fun playing Tiny Bones.
Okay.
And not a lot of success. I lost a lot. But I built like Discard Tribal at the start. And the problem, of course, with Discard Tribal is that you both get your hands empty. And you're drawing more cards than them because you have Tiny Bones and stuff. But then you're just drawing more cards that make them discard.
Yeah.
And don't do anything. And for some reason, your opponent's allowed to play Omnath, so they're playing Omnath. And so you're just getting rolled by whatever they draw every turn.
Yeah, so there was a couple weird things that I wasn't prepared for. Omnath, not banned.
Right.
Okay? Confused. Just because Omnath is banned in Historic and Brawl, but not Historic Brawl? I didn't exactly understand what that was about.
If there's ever a card to like ban for this format without even really testing it, it was that one.
Yeah, it seemed very like, just just put it on the list?
Oh, I played against it, and it's like, they had Felidar Retreat and Genesis Ultimatums going.
Yeah, I literally felt like I was just playing against Omnath pre-Uro and Omnath ban. Because it was like, they played an Uro, and then they played...
Yeah, it just felt like that busted deck,
It was
Lotus
just like...
Cobra and...
How... This is just a standard deck.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really bad.
This is a deck that was basically banned in Standard.
Yeah.
And in Historic.
So that was a little confusing to me. I didn't know if it was just because it was an event and they're like, let's just have people have fun.
I think it's like their way of justifying that, hey, you can still play Omnath.
Sure.
Like, let's give them a way to play Omnath in something.
Yeah.
Because we've basically banned it from all of the... Like, it's banned in Standard Brawl, it's banned in Standard, and it's...
you just can't play it normally at all.
Exactly.
Unless you're playing like
if you have it in your collection, there's no way to actually use it in any of their events.
Yeah, I do get that, and they know that it's a short period of time, so it's not like you're gonna get smacked down with it every time. And to be fair,
ran into it a lot though.
I think I ran into it once.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that big of a problem with it. Also, Brawl was banned in Brawl.
Right. Yeah. So Brawl, I had more of a problem with actually because the reason this was banned was it was really good, but it was also so miserable to play against.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to ban something, again, it should be the one that people have demonstrated to you that they hate.
Yeah, exactly. And that one is specifically like, counterspell tribal.
Yeah.
It just rewards you for doing that and makes your counterspells cheaper and all that kind of stuff.
And just to be clear, we're talking about Baral, Chief of Compliance, as a commander, because his name sounds like the format, so it's
so it's hard. But Baral, at a certain point when it first started, he was basically all of Brawl.
Right,
was
there
Baral.
was all the jokes that
that you come along with those names. But I do have a little anecdote. So I was playing Bruvac, like I wanted to play Bruvac, so I did. I didn't play the busted version. There's one where you basically your entire deck is just persistent petitioners.
And why play that though? Are you just want to get your 3 wins to get your fatal push?
I guess so. Like, it seemed kind of boring because that version, all you have to do is like turn 1 island, turn 2 persistent petitioners, turn 3 Bruvac, turn 4 2 more persistent
for the
petitioners.
rest of the game. Persistent petitioners.
But that's even just
you're already dead from that.
Yeah, because all you have to do is tap it. That's it's 14 times 2 is 28, and then they just do it on your end step and then on their upkeep, and then the game's over. So you can totally do that. That's fine. Seemed kind of boring. I played against it once.
It doesn't seem fun for either player.
Yeah.
But at least, hey, it's over quickly, so you can get on to your next game.
So that's nice. It's not just like this counterspell war forever. But I was playing a version... Well, I wasn't thinking about that, first of all. I wasn't like, oh, I could do this. I just completely forgot.
You just wanted to be the honest, fun, fair mill deck.
Yeah. I was definitely thinking that when I was building. No, I definitely didn't think about that at all. And just kind of put a bunch of random, just weird one-off mill cards. Like, sure, let's just see if this works. But I ran into a Baral deck. I saw Baral in the command zone. I was like, okay, this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
So
then
I
just concede now.
What was great is that I have 2 counterspells in my deck, and they're both the milling counterspells.
Okay.
They cost like 1
They're like functional reprints of each other, right?
Yes, basically, yeah. And so all I did was like wait, and I didn't play anything until I was waiting for them to try to cast Baral. Because I had 1 in my hand, and then I knew they were just waiting for me to cast Bruvac to counter it. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wait. And so then they tried to play something I can't remember, and I countered it. And they're like, all right. Then I drew my other counter spell. I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. So they went to go cast Baral on like turn 5 with mana open. And I counter Baral. And they're just like, concede. And I was like, I Baral'd the Baral player. Yes. This is amazing. It was so good.
Luckily, I drew
the only 2 counter spells in the entire deck because they say mill a card on them. It was fantastic.
I think they milled like 3.
They milled like 2 or 3. I can't remember which. I think it's 3. And so
Didn't Say Please is a functional reprint of something that came in Ravnica.
It was Allegiances. But I remember seeing the one in Allegiances and being like, this card's just awesome. And now we see Didn't Say Please all the time. So
I can picture the art, but I can't remember the name. It's funny how that works.
Yeah. But it's basically Didn't Say Please. But that was my victory. I was like, I did it.
Suck it, Baral player. Yeah. Did you give them like a good premature good game?
Oh no, I didn't do any of that stuff. No, I definitely just wanted to see how it went.
Tie this section into the next.
Yeah. But I also played. I didn't play any of the other commanders I was talking about last week. I just threw together a landfall Rada deck.
Oh, cool! Rada, I really like Rada.
The newer one.
It's a cool card. Yeah. The one that lets you play lands off your
Yes.
top of your library. Yeah.
So I played that, and it was actually pretty fun. Most of it was like a bunch of just Zendikar cards. And I was just like, sure. And I just kind of slapped it together. And it was pretty fun. It felt very fair. I had some good games and also some ones where I was like, there's no way I can beat whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You definitely have thought about this a lot more than I did.
Yeah. So I actually ran into a lot of Omnath and Baral.
That's-
So it ties in with my piss poor win rate.
Yeah, probably maybe. Because I played like immediately when it came out. So I threw a couple decks together quickly. And then slowly stopped playing once I was seeing some of these other more intense ones.
Yeah. I also have a lot less experience building singleton decks than you.
Sure.
So I was kind of like, how do I even build this? Like, do I just type discard and then
Yeah.
click on every card?
That's what I did with Bruvac. I just typed in mill. I just clicked on any card that I had. I crafted a couple cards. I needed Bruvac, and then I think I put in like, was it Patient Rebuilding and
nice.
a couple other ones.
Yeah.
But
I've lost a lot of limited games to Patient Rebuild.
yeah. So, but it was fun. I mean, like, I'm glad that I got to do it. If it stuck around, I probably would have built more decks. The reason I didn't build Kaya or Temet was because I would have to use so many wild cards to get them going that I was like, I just
Right. I mean,
really want to do
I think
it.
the other commanders I was excited for, I didn't even own,
Yeah.
and they're all mythics.
Yeah, so it's like I have one shot at this basically.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know, I won't do that. So maybe next time around. I know it's coming back in July,
Yeah.
January.
It might come back in July.
I mean,
we don't know. Yeah.
totally could. Hopefully in January.
You
they'll
heard
be
it here
like,
first. Historic Brawl, an official
Yeah.
arena format in July.
Spoilers. By July. Let's say by July.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. We are making a statement. Historic Brawl will be a format that you can, what is it? What are they called? Evergreen formats?
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's usually
Sure.
like mechanics or everything.
Okay, whatever. It'll be like a regular format you can play any day of the week, not just Wednesdays or anything, in July.
Okay.
You heard it here first. We are calling that
Should write
shot.
that in the show notes.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it the title of the episode.
Historic Brawl coming to Arena July 2021.
Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Yeah.
Well, I gotta love those clickbait titles.
Yeah. We haven't done one of those yet, so we should probably do that just to get more. I don't know. Followers, viewers, listeners.
We don't want to alienate our one listener, so
Yeah, I mean, if we haven't done that already,
they're a trooper, man.
They're a big trooper.
Yeah, I love Tiny Bones decks. I just kind of started slowly moving out the discard because I kept losing because all I had was discard.
Yeah.
And it kind of morphed into a mono black control deck.
Okay.
Like Ugin up at the top end. And,
I feel that.
yeah. Because black actually has a lot of good utility lands. I only noticed when I was like making this deck, I'm like, oh, I could add this and I could add this.
Yeah.
And then I worried that I didn't have enough swamps, so I actually had to go back and cut some of the utility lands because a lot of them depend on having a lot of swamps.
Exactly. Yeah. Like Witch's Cottage.
Yeah.
And Castle Lochthwain.
And
well,
Cabal Stronghold.
Cabal Stronghold.
Yeah.
That one.
Which is like that was one of the best cards in my mono black control deck.
Yeah.
You know, lets you ramp into Ugins and stuff.
Yeah. And other fun things.
And so I think that's the correct way to build Tiny Bones. And then he felt pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Once you kind of went that route instead of the.
Like, you have incidental discard, but you don't play that many cards that all they do is discard.
Exactly.
Because
Because if once they start top decking and they have enough lands, they're just going to play every card that they draw.
Like, I don't even know. Thoughtseize is still in the deck, but I don't even know how good it is in Historic Brawl, actually.
Yeah, if it's not consistent, that is kind of hard. You don't want to draw into that late. You really want to turn one Thoughtseize. That's why it's so strong.
Yeah.
Because then would you rather play Mind Rot over it?
Right, and then a big part of Thoughtseize is you take the card that is most important to your opponent's game plan, but you can't because that's their commander.
Yeah, so you're like, I can't even hit that one.
Right.
That's true. That does make sense. You're really just losing 2 life to throw away a removal spell.
Yeah, but if you have Tiny Bones or if you have Waste Not or something like that, it's worth it. I really like it with Waste Not because you get to choose which mode of Waste Not is going to trigger.
That's true.
Well, except the land one.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I don't know. That I just had a lot of fun with this deck, even though I kept losing to Omnath and Baral.
Yeah, maybe I'll just build an Omnath deck. Actually, no, I don't know. Do I build the Omnath deck so when in January I can play it immediately and just do it? And I can finally play Omnath again?
But they might look at the response to this one and have it banned.
That's the worry. Do I want to spend the time building the deck just it to be... I guess it probably
The deck kind of builds itself,
Yeah, I
right?
was gonna say,
Landfall.
It won't take
click,
that
click,
long.
click.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just build it and have it just in case. So we'll see how it goes.
I did want to share, though, I played against the Vizier of Naktamun.
Did you?
Oh, I got my ass kicked.
Damn it!
Yeah, this was like History of Benalia on turn 3. And,
okay. Oh, I see that one.
This guy had some crazy token synergies coming my way.
Good. I didn't think about that.
Oh, it just stomped me. By turn 4 or 5, I was like, I don't understand how I could possibly keep up with this token value. Turn 1 was Legion's Landing.
Yeah, turn 2 you play Temet.
Right.
Turn 3 you play Benalia. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was a curve out, man.
Yeah. I really do like low curve commanders. Especially, I mean...
I had to kill it, because otherwise they were going to flip their Legion's Landing.
Yeah.
Because they also played Mox Amber.
Yes.
Which I don't know if you're just always supposed to play that in Brawl.
I think you might, actually.
Yeah.
Well, depending on how low...
with such a cheap commander, it was really powerful, because they got to play the commander on turn 2, play Amber, and play another 1-drop.
I think if you have a 4-drop commander, you don't. Because you're trying to ramp into your 4-drop commander.
And that doesn't help.
But if you have a 2-drop commander or a 1-drop...
Right. So I should have been playing it in my Tiny Bones deck.
Yeah, I would say that probably would be a good idea because you don't get to ramp a lot in black.
Yeah.
But a 3-drop, I would say it's iffy. And 4 or more, I'd say probably not.
I just don't have it, so I wasn't going to use a Mythic Rare Wildcard.
Oh, yeah. I don't have it either, so... I didn't even see it in my list of cards I could click on because I only was doing ones that
collected for sure.
Collected for sure.
Yeah, but I had to kill it because it was going to transform the Legion's Landing.
Yeah.
But then they just played it on turn 4, so it's like I almost felt like I wasted a removal spell because it just came back.
Yeah,
I felt like I had to tempo wise, but
that can be
the fact that their commander was a 2-drop.
And that's really the thing. The 2-drop commanders. I had built. This is just regular commander, but my SRAM senior edificer. I had a mono white like Voltron deck that was just like a bunch of equipment and SRAM.
No.
Yeah. What? I like just building a big thing and just rah.
You playing Boggles?
Yeah. But basically that was really fun because if people kill it, you can play it 3 or 4 times in a game and it doesn't even feel that bad.
Right.
As opposed to like a 5-drop or 6-7-drop commander, you're like you play it twice, maybe twice. Like if it gets killed once, you have to really be careful about when you're going to play it, and depending on how intense it is and stuff. So, I really think that the lower CMC ones are just nuts because
especially in 1-on-1, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Where you're like you could play Reese the Redeemed. He's a 1-drop, and you just like turn 1 every game. You turn 1, you play your commander. So, and that feels great.
He's green-white, right?
Green-white, yeah. And he makes tokens. Yeah. Makes a bunch of elves and then doubles your tokens later. So, I mean, that's just a really good commander deck in general. So, playing in
that'd probably work in Historic Brawl.
You could definitely make it work. I just didn't really want to go down that path because you could just look up EDH Rec and look at all the cards. I mean, or you could look at all the cards that you can't play with it. Right. You kind of wish that you could.
I have to say I didn't run into like the Kinnan type stuff.
I didn't either. And I was expecting a lot of Kinnan, and I think a lot of it was because people were trying other things. And I think Kinnan is around standard a lot.
Right. So you kind of know what you can do with Kinnan. It's more fun to play.
And it's just like adding better cards to Kinnan. And most of the players that were in this event were excited to play with cards they couldn't play normally. Like I didn't
actually. I think everyone I played against had a commander that you could not use in traditional Brawl.
Yeah, in traditional Brawl, or
like including Omnath.
Including Omnath, right? So yeah, I think that's actually true. Every single person was playing something that,
and so was I. So
yeah. And I wasn't because I played Rada, so that was different. But yeah. Anyway, really nice. Once again July. This will be. This will be a format you could play any day of the week. It's the best way to play Brawl for sure. And I think it'll bring a lot of commander players into Arena.
And just one last note on it. It is coming back in January.
Yes.
So if you want Historic Brawl to be a thing by July,
play
in that event.
Exactly. Yeah. Play that event. Get ready for it. Build other decks. Think about it now. So that you can play it then, because I definitely having this whole month will be really nice to be able to do that because we only had like a week or so.
Yeah, I felt a bit pressed because
I really just didn't have the time to find exactly what I want to do. So now maybe I'll have enough wildcards. I'll build Temet.
That's the thing. Right?
That might work out. So I could see it here and there. But with that, I think I need another beer.
Yeah, me too.
So we are going to a beer break.
I'm liking this jazz beer break theme.
Yeah, it's a jazz beer break.
Yeah, we're just gonna start scatting actually.
Okay, here we go.
I don't know if we can make the fake pouring into a glass sound.
Sure we can. Sure we can. It's like this. Okay, ready?
Yeah. Nah, I can't do it.
Anyway, we have our mugs again, so we are not cracking. Well, we just
definitely
forgot.
both have of our Arena Regulars
We
mugs.
definitely both remember.
Neither of us
to bring
forgot
them.
it.
Nope. We both have the Arena Regulars mug that we were so excited about. Anyway, and that is the etiquette of our podcast is to bring our mugs every week.
Right.
We never forget.
No one would ever.
But talking about etiquette, I don't know who brought that
Wow,
up.
that's
whoa, it's so weird.
The transition was so smooth.
I know.
Can't even...
we're talking about arena etiquette right now. And basically, because we're playing this game, I mean, you have etiquette and everything, right? So if you're playing in paper, there's a certain way that you talk to your opponent. There's a certain way that you draft with people. You know, there are certain kind of guidelines that you try to uphold socially, right?
People have feelings and emotions.
Exactly.
So anything that involves people is going to
social
involve
things.
not upsetting people for no reason.
Exactly. And most of the time, like, people can get upset. People's feelings will get hurt for different things. And you never exactly know why those things will happen. But it's also a smart idea to just, like, try not to hurt people's feelings. I don't know why that would be your focus.
I mean, you don't want to drive people away from the game that you love that gets better when more people play it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's
I think everybody wants more Magic players, right?
Yeah, it's a really pragmatic way to look at it.
Exactly.
If you love Magic, then being rude to people who are playing Magic might incentivize them not to play, and Magic is definitely better if more people play.
Yeah. Well, Magic's also inherently you need another person. I don't know if you've goldfished a deck before, but it's not that fun.
Yeah.
Right? You need an opponent. Otherwise the game doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
I mean, some combo decks would suggest otherwise.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah. But most of the time...
most people enjoy actually having an opponent that interacts with them.
And interacting is a big part of that. So we should treat them with respect. And so that's why we would just want to talk about etiquette, specifically on Arena, because when you're face-to-face with somebody and you're playing Magic, usually it can be quite inherent. Like, you're just used to these things. You'll be nice just meeting them, asking them their name, giving them a handshake in the before times. Now, I don't know if we're going to do handshakes anymore.
And maybe no more handshakes ever.
Yeah, there will never be a handshake again.
Yeah.
Because
what
of
about
the pandemic.
shuffling each other's decks? You know.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, shuffling each other's decks.
That's kind of a rule in competitive play. That...
Shuffling or cutting each other's decks, or at least offering to let people cut your deck is really important. So all those kinds of things in paper, has its own set of rules. But now that we're on Arena, we have a completely different set of rules, which haven't really been outlined, and we kind of want to just have a discussion about it. We have slight outlines of what we think it should be or what we would like to see. Or
we have ways that we approach it.
But, but we really want this to be more of a discussion.
We know things that piss us off.
Yeah. So we'll definitely talk about what we don't like. But we do want this to kind of be a discussion and be talked about more often. Because there are some times I can get a little tilted or a little salty.
Playing Magic? No.
And there are easy ways to avoid this. And most of the time it's because I think someone's doing it maliciously. Right? Usually it's not an accident.
It's pretty clear when someone's, not giving you a real nice.
Yeah. So the first thing I just wanted to bring up, this is... we won't talk about this very much, but it's just being in a draft, right? So you're in a draft. You can't emote. You can't do anything with the people around you in your actual draft pod, which is actually, I think, a very positive thing.
Yeah.
I have had many experiences where I was in an in-person draft, and there would be little side comments or little things people would kind of say or mention that would kind of frustrate me in the draft.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually a plus being on Arena that we have zero interaction. Besides, you can look and see where the packs are kind of piled up and kind of maybe curse their name. But besides that, I think that's great.
Yeah. The only thing that ever annoys me during a draft is when one person unfortunately, this is just something that's going to happen.
This will
but
just
one
happen.
person is kind of clearly AFK,
Yeah.
or I don't know. Maybe they have multiple things queued up, but they have like 8 packs
Yes.
waiting at them. That person is always to my right.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
So the thing with that is that we aren't upset with players who are reading all the cards, right? If you're reading cards and making decisions, that's fine. But the majority of the time when those packs are piled up, and there's 8 of them because that's the entire table,
Right.
it's because that person is not actually drafting. They are letting the AI do it for them.
Right.
Or they're, watching Netflix, or
They forgot. I don't know. They clicked that they were ready and then forgot somehow.
and immediately got up and walked away, or just fell asleep, or I don't know.
I actually advocate a strategy that I've been employing of forcing myself to take the full time, meaning if I don't have another pack waiting for me, I don't have to make a pick yet.
Yeah.
So
And-
I can use the full time that I'm actually given. But there's a difference between doing that and having 7 packs waiting for
And
me.
having the full time for every single pack that's just piled
That doesn't
up on
mean
top
take
of
the
you.
maximum allotted time. It means if I'm just taking a card and I'm just sitting there waiting for my next pack, that's kind of wasted time. So I should
Yes.
use that to really make sure I'm making the right pick. But
And not only make the right pick, but like look and see what the other cards are.
Right.
But that's more of a drafting kind of thing. I just want to touch on it quickly because that's just a very small.
it's a bonus
portion.
to drafting on Arena. You don't have people being like, "Wow, this is still in the pack." I
What?
wanna-
I'm like, nobody took this? Whoa, this pack is
I
crazy.
love drafting with you noobs.
Yeah, like that stuff is really frustrating.
Yeah, don't do that if you ever go to a paper
Yeah,
draft. by the way.
whenever we have paper drafts again, just you can keep things to yourself. Things can be exciting, but it's really fun to show everyone after we've made all of our decisions.
Right.
But emotes. So emotes are the big thing with etiquette, right?
Right. It's the sort of, well, it's one of 2 ways you can interact with your opponent.
Yes.
Like communicate with your opponent during a game. It used to be the only way,
Yeah.
right, before the stickers. So there's been a lot of sort of development and we basically just had the same 5 emotes for the longest time. So
Yes.
that's starting to change. But
And this started with Zendikar Rising, so it's very new. Right?
exactly, yeah. So I personally, the way I've always approached it is I try to use my emotes the way I would in an actual, if I was sitting down face to face with my opponent, how would I use these? Well, I'd say hello when I sit down. So that's fine. I'll say hello. If my opponent makes a sweet play, I will say nice. That's something I would do in person.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, nice. That's great. And I would say good game. When I lose,
The match.
yeah, I do it every game actually
Okay.
that I lose.
All right.
But like, I don't say good game when I won unless they say it first. That's how I've always done it in paper as well.
It's like
And
extending the handshake when you're about to
yeah,
attack for
don't
lethal.
like say good game and then play the card that they didn't know was in your hand that really ends the game. And you would never do that in paper, would you?
Yeah.
I hope you wouldn't do that in paper.
Especially if they have mana open.
Right.
Like I have done where they're like completely tapped out, all their creatures are tapped, all their mana's tapped.
Yeah.
They have nothing. I don't have to play anything else. It's all on board. It's not like they're going to play Pact of Negation or something. Like everything's on the table. It's very obvious. I'll swing and say good game. But even those times I feel a little bit bad about it.
I still always wait. Basically, when I was playing in person, you felt that it was more visceral. That the other person is often really, demoralized.
Yeah.
Sometimes not so, but a lot of the time it is true. Something, there's a top deck or there's a really back and forth game, a really close game that they were invested in and it didn't land their way. So I always waited for whoever lost the game to extend the hand and say good game. And I would reciprocate if they do, but I would never win a game and then shove a hand in their face and ask them to shake my hand. And that's kind of what it feels like on Arena when you win or are about to win and then you just say good game and then play the card in your hand I didn't know about that does actually end the game.
That changes the situation.
Right.
If the board looks like you were kind of stalled and then you play something, you say good game and then play a card that's like, this is the reason.
And a lot of the time I'm sitting there okay, if they have this card, I'm going to lose, but I think if they don't, this gives me the best chance to win. I'm really thinking about it and make that play. They have that card, they say good game, and then play it. It's
Yeah, just like, oh, okay. It does.
Just in poor taste, I think. It doesn't really upset me that much, but I understand why it upsets other people.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is really thinking. I know there's a big problem with like internet trolls and just people that have opinions online that they do not talk about in person, or things they would say online that they would never say in person.
Yeah,
right?
I always wonder if these people that are doing this, like in a real match of Magic, are they just the most polite person? And
yeah, they're super nice, but then like you put them behind a screen and they're just like such assholes. I don't know if that's what it is. I'm guessing not. Like I honestly think most of the time it's just people not thinking about it that much. Right. And I do think it's something we should think about, because I don't do the hello when I start the game. I rarely do that. I was doing it through the Brawl event because I knew the type of people that were playing the Brawl event would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like, those are the kind of people that I know, if you're playing this event, I want to continue to welcome you to this community. If I'm playing in a standard event, I don't always feel like it's necessary, because I'm just like, let's go. We're both grinding. I don't know if we need to do that. But from talking with you, and this is before this moment, obviously, I have been trying to do more kind of hellos when I sit down quote unquote at the table, just because I want people to see my username, and if they see me again, they'll be like, that is somebody I liked playing against this person.
Yeah. And when they beat you, you say good game, and when you concede, they'll remember that and be like, oh, this guy was,
Or if they top deck something sweet and you're like, nice.
Yeah.
Like that was the card you needed.
Yeah.
That's great. Good job.
Yeah, you have to be a bit concerned in that specific scenario. They might read it as being like sarcastic.
Yeah.
But if you've been genuine in all the other interactions, there's no reason to expect that.
So what we're kind of moving into is like trying to be as genuine as possible with your emotes. Like it can be very easy to be malicious with them.
Maybe we just run through the starter emotes.
Let's talk about those really quickly. So first you have hello.
Yeah,
right?
There's no reason to use this other than at the start of the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's not 100% true. If someone's slow playing, you will say hello to see if they're there.
See, I usually use your go for that.
That's interesting.
Right? Like if so sometimes, we'll get to that when we get to...
Wait.
When we get to your go.
Let's go back.
For me, I use hello at the start of the game, if I remember to do it.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. I think hello got moved. It used to be like the leftmost one.
Yeah.
And now it's the middle one. Yeah. But I got so into like clicking my thing and then clicking left that I was saying like thank you to people, or I think even good game at the start of the game.
Yeah, it's strange. But basically we have 5 different emojis or buttons, and 3 of them change depending on what your opponent has just done.
Yeah.
Right? So you can say hello, nice, thinking.
Or whose priority it is.
Yeah. Thinking, oops, and good game.
Right.
Those are the basic ones that you have when you start. But then if they're, depending on priority, or if someone has emoted to you, you have about 20 seconds to say one of the other ones back, which is nice becomes thanks, thinking becomes your go, and oops becomes sorry. They have been in a little bit of it feels like I can't always do it recently, because I loved using sorry in stuff as a legitimate, I'm sorry, something has happened.
That's one I wish I had access to just all the time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, your opponent just gets mana screwed or whiffs on something. It doesn't really make sense for them to say oops.
Yeah.
Because oops is like, I made a mistake. It's just like, oh, I didn't get there. And I want to say sorry, like, that sucks.
Yeah.
But I can only say sorry if they say oops.
Exactly. Or if they say something, right?
Yeah.
So that can be kind of that can be hard. So it would be nice. I understand that having the emotes change depending on what's happening in the game is helpful, that you don't have to click the side button to get to a new section of emotes. But
like, we can't just have 100 emotes available to us. It's not plausible with the UI.
Exactly. But there's those kinds of things that we wish we could like just say sorry all the time. Like, definitely with Mana Screw or Mana Flood, where they're just like
I don't say oops when I get mana screwed.
No.
Unless Like, the only time I can imagine is that I kept some really sketchy hand and it didn't get there.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't know if I would say oops. I'd say oops to myself. You know?
I think
whoops, shouldn't have kept that.
Yeah, I've said oops a couple times, or I've seen people, if they play a card that maybe like an Explore, right? They play Explore, they don't draw a land, they don't have another land drop to play, they say oops.
Sure, yeah.
You
And
know?
then I know what they're saying.
Yeah, and I get that. And that works out. But these
And then
are,
I'd say sorry.
yes, exactly.
Or-
but these are the classic
sorry.
ones. Yeah, sorry, not sorry. Or
Sorry.
Canadians.
Hey, we got 80% Canadian listenership here, so I'm
Well,
going to say sorry.
we are in Canada, so I don't think there's going to be that. It doesn't matter. Anyway, but those are our classic emotes. Hello, nice, thinking, oops, and good game are the classic ones, right?
Right.
So we're very used to those. With Zendikar, we got a ton more. But the most important thing, I think, with Zendikar was we got stickers.
Yeah.
Right? So I kind of want to talk about stickers first. We got 5. We have... And so the important thing with the stickers is that you only get these with the Mastery Pass. Actually,
Yeah.
with all of the Zendikar emotes, you get them with the Mastery Pass.
Yeah. I actually have no stickers.
Yes.
Because I haven't decided whether I'm going to get far enough through that Mastery Pass that it's worth it for me to buy it yet.
Yes, and I just straight up got way too excited and just bought it immediately.
Which is also totally fair, by
Yeah,
the way.
but I'm also it helps me continue to want to play all the time. We will talk about that at a different point. Wow, we are getting sidetracked. This beer is getting me a little bit. I didn't think it was going to. It's only like 6.5%. But
Hey, man, spending time off topic is what we do best.
yeah. Anyway, so the stickers, right? Last episode we were talking about how much we love the stickers. I love the stickers so much.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things. But we have 5. So you have love, sad, angry, sleepy, and happy.
Right.
I love is the first one you get. It's not extremely useful.
I sometimes get, like, people doing that instead of hello. They'll just open with love. That makes me feel warm inside.
Okay, that's nice. I see that. I usually get love in a sarcastic way where you miss a land drop or you make a mistake and they do the love thing. So I don't love that one very much.
No.
The sad one I really like because I'll hit like good game when I'm losing. I'll hit good game, sad emoji, and
Nice.
then I'll concede. And so it's like sad and exploding and all this stuff's happening at the same
For
time.
me, the sad one is, like, none of the emotes, we were kind of talking about this, are great for when you get mana screwed.
Yeah.
The sad one kind of just, like, because it's like a cartoon sad.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
And there's like tears coming out. And I think it
and
does.
when you flood out, it's particularly
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Topical.
It's telling you that you're flooding.
Yeah.
I think that is a good observation. I think the sad does convey what we were kind of hoping for, wanting some sort of hey, I'm mana screwed or something.
But I don't think I can respond to the sad sticker with sorry, which I would love to be
Yes,
able to do.
I think that you're not able to do that, and so it would be nice if we just had sorry in its own little space.
Right.
I love the angry emote. I will use the sad or the angry emote for if you blow up my thing.
Right. Again, they're perfect because it's like cartoony. It's not like really angry.
Exactly.
It's like, oh no.
Yeah, and the angry one is just like, it looks like you're flipping them off, but it's like in a fun, kind of funny way.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, I use that one
I
constantly.
think one of my favorite ways I had that was just the other day. I just played Island Ruin Crab, and I just immediately, like, after saying hello, we both said hello. I play Island Ruin Crab, and I just get the
the angry emote, like, come on, I don't want to do this. You were so nice, and now you're.
It's actually, I'll talk about it in a bit. It's actually a strategy I've been employing is to say hello before I play Island Ruin Crab.
Interesting. But then we have sleepy, which works if someone is roping or just spending a lot of time just not.
This one I just don't love. I don't think there's a way to use it that's really that appropriate.
Yes, which I want to get into in a little bit. But it does feel like there is no way for that to be kind of seen as sort of malicious. So the sleepy one is, it conveys a message, which is your go, or hello, or you're just trying to say, hey, it's your turn, what are you doing?
Right.
But it's saying, I'm sleeping over here. I mean, the only time it's really appropriate is if you're playing against a combo deck that's doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you're always allowed to shit on combo players.
Yeah. So that's basically it. But
Yeah, I just don't see how this one's ever, like, earnest.
Yeah.
Anytime my opponent uses it, it's just like, oh, I'm tired of playing against your strategy.
Yeah. That's basically
And
it.
that's all I'm reading.
Most of the time, the sleepy emote is not, hey, you're taking too long. It's usually you play a card and like, oh, this deck again.
Yeah, ruined crabs.
Yeah.
Sleepy.
Or whatever.
Whereas
So
the angry one I thought was way funnier.
at least it's funny, right? But I do like that the sleepy one actually says something, right? At least it is conveying something that I would. There's something you can get from it. The next one is happy, which takes you a long time to get. I recently just got it.
It's kind of the worst one, right?
Within this weekend, and it really doesn't. What does it do?
It adds nothing.
It adds nothing,
I feel.
And it just it's a way to
or at least again, it only adds negative things.
Yeah, like it's just you're saying I'm so happy that I'm winning.
Yeah.
Or
you're getting mana screwed. Happy.
Yeah. Or it's like pessimistic, being like, oh, I didn't have another land. Happy thing,
Yeah.
Like it.
I've never seen somebody use this when I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, like it doesn't give something positive, which is funny because it's the happy sticker. Right.
I kind of feel that way about Sleepy and Happy, is that they're not adding anything positive, but Happy is just also almost adding nothing at all.
Yeah, it just feels like, why would I ever use this? I might not even put it in my emote trap.
So it's just weird that that's the one you have to work the hardest to
Yeah,
get.
I don't know why they didn't give you sad first also. Like sad and
angry are the best ones.
They're definitely the best ones, and they're the most useful. They really come in handy, and the other ones don't. Which kind of brings us into talking about the Zendikar emotes.
Okay,
right?
yeah. So those are the stickers that came out with Zendikar Rising.
Yeah,
They
so
also released more like emotes.
Are they considered stickers, or are they called?
No, I mean the stickers we just talked about came out in
sorry.
Zendikar, but Zendikar, the Mastery Pass also gives you like emotes.
Yeah, and there's a ton of them. There's like, I don't know, 20?
Yeah, there's a lot. 15 maybe?
15, yeah, there's 15. As I just count each individual one. But yeah, so my suggestion, if you have all of them, which I don't think many people will have it yet, we're getting really close to having all of them. I think I'm 2 or 3 away.
Okay.
And
I have 0.
Yeah. So I'm like level 92, 93 or something, just from playing every day. But basically, these are emotes that are kind of story oriented. Right?
It's really odd, honestly.
They're very
I almost
strange.
feel like they're like marketing for Zendikar Rising.
Yeah, some of them talk about Zendikar itself. Some of them talk about characters in Zendikar or
some of these
creature
I
types.
Can't imagine using.
I don't
That's the
understand.
thing.
Why would I ever use? I don't know. Zendikar is restless.
Yeah.
I don't know why I would use. What am I going to use? When am I
Where
ever
mana
going to?
flows, the Gnarlids follow.
Why would I use that?
When am I using that one?
Like, I don't know. Iona no longer guards this place.
Right.
We do.
All the ones that are really specific to like parts of Zendikar that,
or like a story or something I don't get. And it feels weird as it just like you get this thing as like a reward, and they're like, I don't even know what I'm going to do with this, right? I don't even know if I want it to be part of my choices, because when you have all of them, there are pages and pages you have to click through to find the specific one you're talking about. And one thing I didn't get to mention before is that emotes are really important timing wise. Like if you can time the right emote at the right time, that's when you can hit either if it's really funny or like if it's
rude,
or like if it makes sense to that moment.
Right.
If you miss the moment and another card was played or something, and you hit that emote, it doesn't make any sense, and then people are just confused, and it's weird.
Now I think because this is the first batch, I think Wizards is just let's throw everything at the wall and see what people like.
Yes.
So let's throw some stuff that's specific to the set. Maybe they won't like that, but hey, you never know. Like maybe this is their favorite one.
Sure.
And let's throw some more generic stuff.
Yeah.
Let's throw some.
So my suggestion for you, or our suggestion for you, is that you should pick 5 that you think are really useful. I mean, maybe you think that the ones we think are terrible.
I don't know about really useful, but like could come up.
Come up. Yeah. But I have picked 5.
Okay.
And these are the ones I think you could possibly see play. So the first one,
see play, I love it.
Yeah. So the first one you get is obey and cooperate, which is it doesn't obey me, it cooperates me. Wow. The reason I like this is because you could have a misplay and then hit this.
I like this as when you whiff on something.
Yes.
So the first time I saw it, I think it was my opponent had Narset, Parter Veils.
Yeah.
And their deck is clearly all like non-creature spells, right? It's a control deck.
Yeah.
And they look at the top 5 and find nothing. And then they're just like, it doesn't obey me. It only cooperates with me.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really funny. That was the first time I actually saw this emote. And I was just like, yeah, you shouldn't be whiffing on Narset. I know you just looked at 5 lands.
Like that sucks. Yeah. And I can also, if let's say you play it and you are playing one of the mythic Zendikar lands and you accidentally let it go into play tapped when you need it untapped, obviously. That is another time that it would work.
It's like clearly an arena misclick. I meant to click this half of the double face card and I clicked this.
Or
half.
or if you play it as a land instead of the spell. Those kinds of things.
I think that's more common because but
that happens to me often actually. Like I play so fast. I need to slow down and like think about things. And so that one could be useful in certain situations, and it's also funny. Like, I think emotes having a sense of humor a little bit, it's a weird balance, but having a sense of humor with it works. So I do like having this one.
Another good one I saw about this, I actually wasn't quite sure how I felt about it, but in the end I decided it was just kind of funny, is they stole my creature. And they're like, it doesn't obey me, but it cooperates with me.
Oh, that's good.
That's like, all right, you got me.
That's pretty funny. Okay, so if you're stealing creatures, that's pretty. That's probably my favorite one.
Yeah, it felt bad because I was gonna lose that game now because they stole my best creature. But.
But they're also giving you ownership of it, right? So, or like
I still own it, but they control it.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, hey, I know this is yours. Yeah. It's cooperating with me, but it doesn't obey me like you do. Yeah. And you will get it back at the end of turn, but you're going to be dead by then.
Yeah.
I that's pretty funny. I do like that one. But another one that I've pointed out, I think, so the worry much one, where it's you worry too much. This one I think is really nice, especially if you see someone looking over your cards a lot.
Right.
Where they kind of highlight the back of it and they're looking over them, or you put a spell on the stack and they wait for a long time, and you can just hit, oh, you worry too much.
And I don't hate it as just a generic response to when they say thinking.
Yeah.
Like, they've taken a long time, they say thinking. Like, you worry too much.
Yeah. And it's like, it might come across kind of... not malicious, but in like a kind of mean way. But I do think for the most part, it's just gonna kind of lighten the mood.
Right.
So I think that just like straight up, that just makes sense, right? That has nothing to do with Zendikar or lands coming to life or mana or anything. It's just like, this is something we can't really talk about or something we couldn't convey before, and now we can. And that's when the emotes work best.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So that is just exactly what I want all my emotes to do. Because if they're telling a story, like, I don't know, why?
Yeah, they should kind of lighten the mood and just make it more fun.
Yeah, and just be like, hey, let's have a game of Magic. If I go longer, my rope starts because I'm emoting you, great.
Right.
I'd much rather have it be like a back and forth kind of thing. So I also put down rebirth, death. So it says every rebirth looks like a death. So this is one of those final parting emotes you could put almost in place of a good game. Right. But either one of those, you could say good game and then say this and then concede. Yeah,
that'd be a pretty funny way to use it, right? Like, I got my ass kicked. Just like, every rebirth looks like a death.
Exactly.
Bye.
Or this is like your, it's the first loss of the match. So like maybe you lose game one.
Perfect. Yeah.
Right? So you lose game one, you say this as you lose game one, go to game two, and then you're reborn, right? You have a new deck because you sideboarded all these cards. Right, that seems
perfect.
That seems pretty perfect.
This is for when you lose game one. I like it.
Exactly. So I definitely think that's one that can.
Again, though, don't say it when you win game one.
Yeah, like what?
This isn't a console your opponent. Every rebirth looks like a death.
No, it doesn't really.
That's just condescending.
It does feel condescending, and it's not like I can see how you want it to sound like it's a pat on the back. Right. Like, hey, buddy, you can do it. Next round, you'll get me.
But it's not going to come across that way.
It won't come across that way. It's much funnier if you're saying it.
Right.
And really being funny during emotes is pretty important, I think, because you can't express if you're being funny or not
Yeah, it's like how many of your jokes land when you're texting someone who doesn't know you really well.
Exactly. And that's basically what you're doing. You're texting someone who doesn't know you at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that one definitely works. We have two more. The first one, backup plan. So it says always have a backup plan. So this is a similar one. This is kind of on the teeter-totter of, is this a good emote or can you use this to be really mean? Right? This is a really good, you can definitely play this when you counter people's
To be fair,
stuff.
like any of them can be used maliciously.
That's true,
right?
yes. Anything can be malicious.
Except where mana flows, the gnarlets follow.
That's true. So, okay. So, yeah, let's talk about that. So, the only good thing with all these random weird things that are mana, or, I don't know, Zendikar stuff, or weird, I don't know, story sentences they took out of a book. I don't exactly know what they are. But they can't be used for malicious things, but they can't be used for anything.
The reaction is always just going to be like, huh?
Huh? Okay. If we had that would be great.
Yeah,
if
that's
you could
okay.
Yeah, that's a good
we
one.
need,
If you could give like a what? Or like a huh? Like that would be pretty funny, right?
Yeah.
And that would work out really well. This one, I mean, obviously all of them can be used maliciously, but this one, so always have a backup plan. You can use it when you counter someone's spell. Don't do that. That's really rude.
Especially since people already hate counterspells.
Yeah, if you counter someone's spell and say, oops, get out of town, man. Just come on.
Yeah.
Like I'm not down with that. I don't like it. It's not fun.
On the other side though, let's say I'm playing I play something.
Yeah.
And it's my turn. I have 6 mana. I play something that costs 4.
Mm-hmm.
And they mystical dispute it. Then I'll play a land and say, oops. It's like I should have played this land first, so I'd have 3 to pay.
There you go. Yes.
Mystical dispute. I do that all the time.
Where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna wait and play this land later, and then I'm like, there are handfuls of spells. I'm like, get spell pierced, and you're like, I had the land in my hand. I had 1 untapped.
Then you just play it and say, oops.
Yeah, and I think that works really well.
Yeah.
But don't be malicious with it and be like, hey,
you can't oops as the spell pierce player.
Like that's rude. Yeah. Like it really and
you wouldn't do that if you were playing against them. If someone played it and you're just like, oops, spell pierce.
Yeah, like come on, man.
At least I hope you wouldn't do that again.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've played against people that will do that, but like.
So when should you use backup plan though?
So backup plan is it's really good if you get countered, right? And then you have a follow-up play.
Yeah.
Let's say you have 2 plays in your hand. It's turn 5. You have a 2-drop and a 3-drop or a 4-drop, right? You go with the 2-drop, 3-drop plan. They counter the first one. You play the second one,
right?
And then you can say that. That works really well.
Now, what if they kill my only win condition and I don't have a backup plan?
That is hilarious. I wish you could actually convey that. If you're playing against someone who's... there was a deck in Historic that was playing... It was... I think it was mono white, just about. It might have splashed blue for a couple cards. But it's basically you're playing 9 lives Solemnity.
Oh, yeah.
So that 9 lives can't get any counters. And then your only win con is Approach to the Second Sun.
Right.
Right? So if you get rid of Approach to the Second Sun, then they can say...
They just cast Necromentia, take away all the Approach of the Second Sun. You say, always have a backup plan and concede. Yeah.
That is great. I like that. So that is definitely, that one's like, I'm on the fence about that one, but you could definitely use it, and there are corner cases.
Feels like there are funny ways to use it that are good, but mostly it's...
Yeah, it's just going to sit there.
It's going to be obnoxious.
But it's definitely one that you could put, because what I didn't mention before, I don't know why I didn't do this, with all these emotes that you have, you don't have to pick. You don't have to have all of them. You can pick which ones you like, right? So there's 15 of them. You can only pick. You could pick like a third of them and only use those ones,
right.
And then you won't see any of the other ones when you're playing to make it easy to find the ones you actually want to use.
Yeah.
So the last one, I think this one works. Rushing ahead. It says serves you right for rushing ahead. Now
again, this is teetering on the
yes.
Yeah. Precipice of...
Yes. So this one is specifically directed to your opponent. You cannot be talking about yourself really with this one, but I do think it is. If I'm rushing, which I rush all the time, and I definitely click things wrong. I attack all when I shouldn't, or all those kinds of things happen constantly.
Yeah.
I've lost probably 5 games this weekend because of rushing. Absolutely. once I get this emote or once someone gets it, if they hit me with it, I'm totally fine. I absolutely know that's a lesson I need to learn. And going through or like clicking through stuff and forgetting, like you could say oops. This could work as an oops, right? If you're the person. But if you say oops and someone says serves you right for rushing ahead, they kind of got you. They kind of, a little bit. It's like, yeah, you're right.
So one thing I think of when I see this, and I wanted to mention it earlier, we talked about like saying good game before you've actually won the game, how rude that is. One of my favorite things is when my opponent does that and I win the game.
Yes.
And this would be perfect. I would love to say, my opponent says good game, I like block in such a way that leaves me at 1, you know, and then I turn around and win the game. I'll just say, serves you right for rushing ahead.
And that is how you do it. So this one is specifically sticking it to your opponent.
Yeah.
But there are certain times where you need to stick it to them. And I definitely think...
Which we're not necessarily advocating.
No, totally not. But I think that you could definitely put it in your wheelhouse. The rest of them are fine. Look at them if you want. But these are the ones that we thought were good. So again, it's obey, cooperate, worry much, rebirth, death, backup plan, and rushing ahead. Those are the ones that we picked thinking these you can definitely use in some situations.
Right.
The rest is up to your discretion, I guess.
I do have a shout out. So there's one Inferno Spark here. Every Inferno begins with a spark.
Yeah?
And I was playing a game against Mono Red.
Yeah.
And on turn 1, when I passed the turn and didn't play anything, they think for a bit and then shock my face. And then they said, every Inferno begins with a spark. And I was like, okay, I see where you were going with
all
that
right,
one.
all right.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. You're doing a couple damage to me now, but more. You're promising more to come.
Okay, especially funny. Yeah, okay.
But I think generally it's going to be hard to use that one.
It can be rough. Like if you build your deck, if they come out with some card that cares about legs, you could say everybody grab a leg. You play a spider that has leg counters or something, maybe. But like, come on. But that's how we kind of feel about these emotes. Tell us what you feel about them on our Instagram and Twitter. But before we go to our next portion of the episode, how was your beer? How do you feel? I finished mine. I'm done.
Yeah, you took it down. I have a bit of stout left. This is pretty good. When I saw it, I was a bit worried that it would be way too much raspberry, tastes like a dessert. I love stouts, but I don't love stouts that taste like a dessert. And when I see raspberry chocolate
cookie,
but this one, it has a little bit of that, but it's not. It's not like the overpowering thing is sweetness. No. So,
it doesn't have the imperialness that we kind of like. I think we both are on the same page where we really like big, heavy stouts that have this strong, punch you in your face.
Right, The first sip should be like, whoa, I have to acclimate to this.
Yeah, and so that's, it definitely doesn't have that, but it has distinct flavor profiles. As far as cookie goes, I mean, chocolate, stout, raspberry, yes, get it all. Cookie, I don't even know, what does cookie taste like? That's hard. Like fudge cookie, sure, it tastes like a chocolate cookie.
Yeah, butter. I don't know.
I don't know. What is it? I mean, I love cookie. Chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream is my favorite ice cream. So.
Oh, that's Julia's favorite ice cream.
Oh, interesting.
And I got it wrong for years and would bring back cookies and cream.
Oh,
which she likes, but is not.
Cookies and cream is fine.
But she hasn't.
Chocolate chip cookie dough is the best ice cream. From Ben and Jerry's. Just going on a tangent. Yeah. But I do like the stout. I think it's good.
It's pretty good.
I think it's pretty good. I was actually surprised by it. I will definitely buy it again.
Yeah.
I have more in the fridge. I like it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I have a hard time giving this diamond though. It's on that precipice for me, but I think I'll have to go platinum.
I agree. It's really close. Honestly, this is weird, but if it was 7.5, diamond.
Yeah, just a little more.
If it had more oomph, if it was higher alcohol, and it gave it some bite, I like it. But the flavors are so nice, come through. Really like it.
Yeah, really enjoyable.
I will definitely drink it again and again, and I'll tell people to drink it platinum all day.
Yep.
How about the What were we drinking? The Unicorn?
Electric Unicorn.
Yeah, Electric Unicorn, the white IPA.
So I don't like white beers that much. I find I can just drink like one of them and then
Interesting.
Before the pint is over.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sick of it. But white IPAs is kind of the exception to that rule for me. It's a style I do like because it's not just kind of all in on the wheat.
Yeah.
It has that wheatiness, but the hops and the...
So is the white talking about the wheat?
Usually, yeah, white means that it's a wheat beer.
Like Hefeweizen, like a Weiss.
Right.
Weiss
exactly, yeah.
White,
because they tend to get this like white color.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. I was just like, oh, you have a black IPA, you got a white IPA. You're like, what are you gonna do? You
Exactly,
got an IPA. It is what it is. Red
Yeah.
IPA.
So the white IPAs, I find I can drink them
Got it.
because, yeah, it's just the IPA kind of balances the wheat when I just get
Sure.
it. Right? This one is like more body than I was expecting because when you hear IPA, you think, oh, it's about the hops.
Yeah.
And it's like pretty kind of generic body. This one's really like malty is not quite the right word because again, it's using a lot of wheat.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has that kind of malty taste
Yeah.
to it, which I really like. I think beers that are mainly body are underrated, like reds and
Yeah, for sure.
all
for
these
sure,
beers
for
where it's
sure.
all about the body, the English styles,
Yeah.
have kind of been thrown by the wayside by the IPA hoppy
Just like the
style.
North American.
Yeah.
Just hoppier the better, kind of.
So this one really surprised me with its kind of malty bodiness, and I really liked it. For me, again, it's right on that platinum diamond border, though, I think.
Yeah. I really think that most of the beers we're going to bring or taste in general are going to be platinum.
Right.
It's hard to find. I want us to be strong raters. I 100% think that this is definitely a platinum beer as well.
Right.
I really like it. I'm not a big IPA guy, but usually white IPA makes me feel like, okay. It just feels like it's lighter. I don't know. For some reason, I just palate it better than some other IPAs that I can have. Yeah, it's the wheat. Though I don't really like wheat beers very much. Usually they like... unless there's like some piece of fruit or something in it. Like a blue moon. Or sorry, Belgian moon for Canadians out there.
I don't know what the hell Blue Moon is.
Yeah, blue moon is what it's actually called.
See,
But
that's out of the States, so it's fair to say that
yes,
it's actually
exactly.
called
It actually is called that. But yeah, I think it's definitely a platinum. But I do really like it, and the can really pushes it over the top. It's funny because the can is so intense and like in your face, and the beer is so nice and refined that it doesn't feel like the can makes you feel like I'm gonna kick you in the head with my
hops
hoofs
or something.
Yeah. And you taste it and you're like, this is really, like, I can sit with this. This is nice.
Yeah.
So I definitely like them both. It's going to be really tough to pick the one I'm going to drink next. I don't even know right now. So
Yeah, I think it just falls down to whether you're feeling like a stout or a white IPA.
yeah,
basically.
absolutely. All right, but with that, I need another beer because this has been gone for probably 10 minutes now.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to a beer
Oh
break.
my God, we should rush him to a hospital. 10 minutes without a
10
beer.
minutes without a beer? Oh my God! We thought we'd do the real noises this time.
No, that was fake. We're just getting better.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We're just getting a lot better at making canned sounds.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what did you pick? What are you drinking?
All right, so I decided on the Electric Unicorn, the white IPA, the one that I brought. Honestly, though, it was a total toss-up. I think it's just because I was coming off the stout and just wanted a change.
Change of pace.
Like if I'd had the stout first and then the white IPA in the second segment, I'd probably be having the stout now. You know what I mean?
Which is what I'm doing.
Right.
And so I totally understand what you're saying. Yes. Man, drinking this stout it makes me really like it again.
Yeah.
Second time drinking it, I feel the cookie a little bit.
Okay.
Like the chocolate feels like a chocolate cookie, not just like chocolate.
I got a bit of the cookie when you were saying that, but I wasn't able to tell you what it was about it that
maybe because
gives me that.
it has it. I don't know if it's just like chocolate chips specifically have a taste.
I don't know. I had a bit of that baked good flavor
Yeah.
for some reason. I don't know.
I don't know what they did. But the can also says bold and scrumptious. And this is definitely scrumptious. I'm going to put that down in my book. I like this one. I like it a lot.
It's good. It's a good beer.
Maybe someday it'll be upgraded, but that day is not today.
That's the thing, right? It's always like when your first impression of a beer is never your final impression.
Yeah,
Well, I
totally.
suppose that applies to almost anything, but
Yeah. I mean, some stuff. Yes. Okay. So sometimes it gets like worse when you think about it.
some cards, I guess. My first impression and final impression are the same because I never play them.
Exactly. But so we are going into. We were talking about arena etiquette. We'll still probably talk about that. We're just gonna do whatever we want.
Let's just keep talking about it. Yeah.
But basically, now I kind of want to focus on what we're hoping to get.
Right.
Right. So we talked about what we have, what we can use, and all of those kinds of things. What do I want as my emotes? We're like, maybe we're gonna get new emotes with every set now. Is that a new thing? Possibly.
I think this is kind of what I expect as an arena player going forward. I don't know if I expect necessarily them to release 15 new emotes with every set.
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
But I'm expecting a few stickers and a few emotes.
Exactly. Because that seems like,
time.
okay, so if you got 15 emotes and 5 stickers, that's 20 new things you could say to someone. Sorry.
Every few months.
Every 3 months.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's a lot.
It will very quickly get to be kind of too much to
handle.
Yeah, manage. But I still expect maybe. That's why I'm saying maybe Zendikar was kind of a practice. Let's throw out 15 new emotes and see which ones people respond to.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get 5.
Yeah.
With
I mean,
these
like,
sets.
so Kaldheim. I know that we haven't been trying to speculate a lot, but so I am wondering if there might be snow theme, some snowlands, some snow stuff. Kind of cool. Bring snowlands to arena would be pretty fun. But if we have Kaldheim, I really want an emote that says "Brr, it's cold in here," because when someone plays a snowland, I want to say that. I want to say "Brr, it's cold in here." Come on, give us the "Bring It On" reference. Like, I really want that. That would really make it for me. That's my You heard it here first.
Yeah.
We're calling shots tonight.
Listen up, Watsy.
Kaldheim. If they have a snow theme, I want an emote that says "Brr, it's cold in here."
You just never know with like IP stuff if they're allowed to do something like that.
But that is not so Bring It On that it's gonna like really draw hate. Like, you don't go through the whole song. You just say, you can say "Brr, it's cold in here" for anything.
Yeah.
Right.
But there are still like, lawyers will still always be like, we just don't want to invite the possibility.
Sure. Whatever. Okay. I get that. I really want it. I think it would be the funniest thing every single time someone plays a Snowland that I play "Brr, it's cold in here."
See, now I don't want it because I don't want you doing that every single time. You're going to play Snowland every turn.
Not every turn, just like the first turn of the game.
Yeah.
It kind of be like the like Island Ruin Crab.
Yeah.
But anyway, basically, what I'm missing from emotes right now is like non-game reactions.
Right.
Right?
Like, the biggest one for me, and I see you wrote this in the show notes, I want to be able, like, when I see a really cool deck that my opponent is playing, I want to be able to kind of let them know, hey, man, I understand, hey, you brought some crazy brew, and I love it.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Like, genuinely love it. Like, I think that was awesome. I want it to be so close to, like, that was awesome. Can I get the deck list? Like, that's how that's what the emote
I'd love
should
to
say.
Just say that, and here's my email.
But yeah, so basically, like, nice deck or a cool build or something, right?
Yeah, nice deck. And we're fully aware that this could be used sarcastically. Like we said earlier, basically all of them can.
Yeah. You can definitely, if someone has, if you, for whatever reason, are playing against someone who's playing like a color challenge deck or something, you say, nice deck. You could, obviously that's
rogues, man. People hate rogues.
Yeah, and rogues, you could say nice deck, all that kind of stuff. But genuinely, if you're playing a new brew that people haven't seen, nice deck. That's awesome.
Yeah,
like,
I'd love to be able to say that to my opponent.
Yeah. I really wish that I could do that and then follow it up with, send me the freaking deck list so I can play it because I want to.
Right. And this goes way beyond just their deck, right?
Yeah.
Could be their pet that they have.
Yeah, like nice pet. You could do like love the sleeves.
Sleeves, yeah. Or like card styles.
Exactly. Oh, like sweet bling, bro, or something.
Decked out,
Yeah. Something like that where like these are things that people work for. They pay, some of them pay real money, like to get pets or sleeves or card styles and stuff. And like, acknowledging like, hey, I can tell you got the old Borderlands and you paid to get all your adventure cards to be the story
That was
time
the
thing.
example I was thinking of. Sometimes I play against an adventure deck which has 20, like 5 or 6 different adventure creatures, and they have all of the
card styles,
special art for that. I want to be like, that's awesome. Like, you decked out your adventures deck. That's sweet.
Exactly. So being able to, like, obviously this is a huge part of the game, at least what they're giving us. These are prizes for things. This was prizes for Historic Brawl, right? You get these all the time. I'm playing every event I can to get all the landfall ones. Like, this is a huge part of the game.
Yeah.
And I think it's equivalent to playing against someone in Commander who has altars or something.
Exactly.
Where you're like, oh, that's a sick
Awesome.
altar.
Yeah.
Wow, your mana drain has Bruce Lee on it. Oh, so cool, right? Like stuff like that. Really, it builds a community. What we are kind of lacking in Arena, I think, is the community aspect. Like, my friends list is quite low. I wish that I had more friends.
And there's very little ways for me to actually interact with my friends.
Exactly.
Anyways, so.
Not only my friends, but people I don't know. Like, I can't meet people very well.
Can't make new friends.
I'm not playing like Call of Duty and we don't have headsets talking to each other or something. Like, I'm not playing a MOBA where I have a team. I'm playing specifically just against people, and there's no way for me to be friends with them. So with that, I kind of wish there was a like a chat box or something that I could. I wish there was a button I could just click and add to friends list or something.
Yeah.
And then maybe it would say, like, you add them to your friends list, or you request, right? You request a friendship, and then they say yes or no, whether they want people or not. They can even maybe hit something that says, I will never take, I want to be by myself. Auto reject all of those things. But I've played games where, like, I've just played random on teams with random people, and they've added me as a friend on the game, and then we'll play for like 3 or 4 games.
For sure.
Especially when we get real pods. This will be really important. Because if you find someone you like playing against, they can just become your pod mate, and then you just jump in pods to draft with.
Yeah. I think we're showing our age here, because in our days, games, you could always just chat. And it's modern day thing that no chat allowed, basically. And I totally get it. I've played a lot of games where the chat is almost exclusively toxic.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the night, like, what you're saying always did happen. I eventually would meet someone, we'd be friends and play through the game.
Yeah.
That was always great, but that was definitely the minority in a lot of games.
For sure. Absolutely.
But I think it's also, like, if someone says something rude to me, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But, like, they have chat on MTGO, and I played a lot of MTGO, and that game in particular I found to be pretty much like 95% non-toxic. So there were definitely people that were just having a rough day and would just be like, wow, I can't believe you talked like that. You're so lucky and whatever. You just ignore them. It's not a big deal. But a lot of the time it'd be like, hey, good game. Or like, good luck, have fun was always the routine way to start. And then you'd get something like, hey, your deck's really cool. Good games, whatever. And sometimes add to friends list. But, there is definitely I've played against some really, really toxic people that it's like the problem is, like, we've all played games in paper where they weren't that fun to play against because they were just complaining all the time, and people go through different things. I'm not saying
you never know what someone's bringing to the table,
right?
Their personal life and whatever's going on.
I'm not blaming them, right?
No,
but I
of course.
can sometimes at the end of a game be like, that wasn't that fun.
Yeah.
Just because my opponent was not in the best place.
Exactly.
And then online, as we said, that gets accentuated. People have no issue kind of ranting and yelling at you.
Yeah, exactly.
So that does happen, and that's why they're trying to avoid any sort of chat boxes. But I think you're right. If we just had, like, do you agree to interact with this person? Like a request.
Exactly. Even if it was like that, where you click a button at the beginning, instead of hello, or maybe it says hello, do you want to chat? Right. And there's a button and they can say yes or no. If they say no chatting, emotes only. Right. If you say yes, then you can possibly have a chat with somebody. I think that would be great. We've said this before, like when I go on my account, I basically have you are my friend. And if I'm on 95% of the time, it's going to be you.
Yeah.
if I have a friend on, or I have a few other friends that are randomly on at times. But
and if we're on the podcast account, it's 100%. It's just the podcast account has 2 friends.
It's both of us are regular accounts. But yeah, I think it would be great if we could get into that kind of place. I would really like it, especially whatever you think. It's a learning tool. Like if you're new to the game, you might want help, or maybe you don't have resources. Like it took me a long time to talk to people or Google stuff or do different things to know that I could track my win percentage and my different decks and all that kind of stuff, or my limited win percentage, all that.
That's why they listen to us, get the hot
Yeah,
takes.
exactly. So so if you're listening to us, you already get a bunch of those resources. But if you don't, this isn't probably for you then, I guess. Because you have no idea what we're talking about.
But it is one thing in Paper Magic I miss, like when I would go to pre-releases, for example. I'd often, pre-releases were not really the most competitive.
Exactly.
And I was playing more or less competitively at that time. So I do very well at pre-releases in terms of actually winning. But after every match, I'd kind of, because I'm, cordial with my opponent and joking around, having a good time, they'd often be like, hey, do you mind looking at my deck and telling me what I could do better and stuff?
Yeah.
I loved those kind of interactions where we're waiting for everyone to finish. I'm saying, oh, well, I don't think this card is very good, or I don't think you have enough lands, or, it ranged from everything. How are you supposed to learn that an average limited deck has 17 lands if nobody tells you?
Yeah. And to be fair, Wizards does give you a little card that's supposed to help you with that and curve and stuff, but
and Arena tips tell you average limited deck has 17 lands.
And Arena will automatically put those lands in your deck. And,
right.
So that's really helpful, but especially if you're playing more Arena, you just won't think about it. It's just is there. Sometimes you're like, wow, this deck is playing 24 lands and I should be playing more, but I don't know that and I don't really think about it.
Right.
So we don't have those kinds of interactions or being able to what if you could just push a button, share your deck list with your opponent?
Yeah.
After
so
the game.
I've played other card games that have that.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. And I can push a button, and some of them I could push a button and retrieve my opponent's deck list. So someone kicks my ass with something really cool and I'm like, view deck list.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
That's so awesome, especially because I'm still in the place of learning how to sideboard and do different things. If I could, see what their sideboard was, or what cards they put in, or whatever.
I have some bad news for you, Zach. You will always be in the place of trying to figure out how to sideboard better. That is the hardest part of Magic.
All right, well that makes me feel a little bit better. Actually, I do like that. But yeah, I think that's a really big component. Is the community of Arena is missing. The social aspect in Arena itself.
Right.
We do have a lot of Discords. You can Google stuff to find different places. You can listen to us and be like, wow, these guys are so cool. I'm glad I'm drinking beer and playing Magic with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
What other reaction they would have?
I don't know why they would say anything else. But it's so strange to me that we just don't have more of that integration. I understand that there are toxic people out there, but it feels like they're catering possibly to it a little bit. And it would be nice if it was more catered to the majority of folks who are not.
Right. That'd be great.
Or just making the archetype of Spike be less stigmatized, I guess. There's a lot of the stigma around Spikes are so rude. It's not fun to play against them. They just want to beat you and win, and they don't care about anything. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I definitely have been that person who thought that.
Right.
And was thinking, oh, tournament grinders and Spikes, I'm not one of those people. I don't want to be around them. They're really rude. They're mean. And they're totally not. They like being as competitive as possible, having the best lines, and building the most optimal decks. And I don't think that is a malicious thing at all.
No. I mean, that's the thing about Magic is there's a lot of, it appeals to so many different people.
Yeah.
And taking a list that is, basically perfect and playing it as well as possible is what some people find the most fun about Magic.
Yeah.
Other people find taking a collection of garbage cards that everyone else wrote off and winning with them, building a deck with that. Some people find that the most fun.
Yeah. So it really just depends. It's also because a lot of people talk about Magic being a combination of chess and poker, where you have the pieces that you're given or you have brought to the table, and then you have to bluff little certain things or play your opponent, which is a poker aspect. But in this case, like if you're new to the game or new to deck building or still learning how to do these kinds of things, having the best pieces as possible, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Yeah, the poker aspect also comes in that your decisions are probabilistic. Like you're making your decisions based on probabilities that you can't. I mean, in poker you can calculate them. In Magic, like in poker, you probably just memorize if I have this and the flop is this.
Yeah, or you see different cards and you're like, what's the probability that they have this card if I don't see it in my hand and all that kind of stuff. Right. But I do think, like.
It's just interesting on your Spikes talk. I don't know if we should say this, but on the podcast account, we built rogues.
Yeah, I guess it's so funny because I don't have the same thing that you have with rogues, or you have experienced with rogues.
Well, I just played it through like silver and gold, I guess, on the account. And I got really, really poor reactions from my opponents.
Yeah, it's
either just conceding immediately, or which I guess is fine, but it's always a bit disappointing to see that.
Yeah, I mean,
or a constant snooze sticker, and it's like, I wish people wouldn't react this way. I totally get it. Rogues plays all the things that newer players hate: mill and counter spells.
Yeah, and flash cards.
And flash cards, like it combines those into one nightmare for newer players.
Yeah.
But the problem that I have with it is that rogues... Why did we build rogues, for example?
We build rogues because it's one of the cheapest decks to play.
It's a budget deck that as a free-to-play player, our account's totally free-to-play, we were able to build without really investing much.
Exactly.
And it's tier 1, so we can play this deck and expect to do well with it.
Yeah.
So when you're... Maybe we're a brand new player in Silver that could only build rogues because the deck's almost all uncommons.
Yeah.
And people are just constantly giving you snoozes and conceding and saying nice and like going out of their way to be rude, doing everything we told you not to do in the previous segment. And it's like, maybe you're alienating new free-to-play players by doing that.
Exactly. Where they could possibly, you just have no idea. Like,
right.
They are people who started playing Arena or Magic in general. Like maybe they've never played Magic ever, and they just Googled best budget deck, and that's going to be the first one because it's like a tier 1 deck that has like a play set of rares, and everything else is rare lands or commons, uncommons.
It's almost all uncommons.
Yeah. And it's a really good deck.
Yeah.
And
it's difficult to play too. It's not just
really
like
hard.
You play rogues and you just instantly beat everyone.
Yeah. But to be fair, every deck is a lot harder than you think it is. Like anytime someone's trying to tell you that like, oh, well, mono red, you just play this list and you just go. No, it's a lot harder than that. Being a player that red is my least favorite color, and I've been playing mono red in Historic because I like Bomat Courier, and it's been very difficult.
Yeah.
And people know how to beat you. It's hard.
The thing about mono red, right, and is that a single mistake probably costs you a game.
Yeah.
If you're playing a control deck where you make, 50 decisions in the game, making one of them suboptimally probably isn't in itself going to cost you the game.
Yeah.
In a mono red deck, the decisions are so impactful. Yeah, you have fewer decisions to make, so people think it's easier to play. But I actually find it harder to play because any misstep basically costs you the game. You have to get exactly 20 damage through with exactly the cards that you showed up.
And it's hard. Like, and it gives me a lot of respect. And that's like we've said this before. Like, you should play as many decks as you possibly can. With your allotted cards that you get. Like, I'm not saying build a bunch of decks just to play them.
Right.
But if you can, totally workshop it. And Rogues is the best one to build because it's so easy to build.
Yeah.
Like, you should have those lands anyway. All the mythic...
it's Fabled Passage and the Pathways.
Yeah, the Pathways. And then any of the mythic lands that you need that are the modal double face cards.
Yep.
Like,
they're also good additions to your collection.
You should just have those because you'll probably be playing them for the next year or two.
Right.
So...
and this isn't even like a beat 'em, join 'em kind of thing.
No.
If you can't beat 'em, join 'em. It's like Zach's saying, it's very pragmatic.
Yeah.
If you want to be better against rogues, play rogues for a few games and you'll see how anemic some of your hands are. And
Yeah.
you'll see that you're conceding at the wrong spot a lot
Exactly.
of the time.
You're conceding when you're like way too early, and that was the only counterspell in their hand.
They don't actually run that many counterspells. They have 4 Drown on the Lock, which is an amazing
It's a
counterspell in
busted,
the deck.
great card.
There's still only 4.
Yeah, there's only 4, and if you can get rid of their ways of filling the yard, you're good. Also, if you can play escape creatures, you're also probably good. Like, there are ways to... We've seen it in pro play.
Yeah.
Where, like, Cling to Dust turned off Drown in the Lock.
Yeah.
Like, you can do that. You can do that. If you watch those games, you'll be like, all right, if I play escape cards, I can get rid of everything in my yard, and they can't counter anything I play.
Yeah.
Like,
Rogues is definitely a good deck, but I
it's
think
a good deck.
I see it all over the internet and stuff that it's unbeatable. It's very beatable.
It's very beatable.
It has some draws that can't do anything because it
Yes.
just draws cards that require you to have a lot of cards in your graveyard and no ways to put cards in your
Exactly.
graveyard.
And that's my big thing also is that, hey, so you're playing Magic, right? Conceding early when you have a grip full of cards and I have a grip full of cards, why? I don't see why you would do that. I know that there are certain missteps, or maybe you made a mistake and you're like, oh, I can't recover from this. Mm-hmm. It's different if you're facing down like 3 planeswalkers and no cards in hand.
Yeah.
And you're at 2 life. Sure. Like, obviously that's a concede situation, but like, or even if you're at 20 life, right? And your board state is obliterated. You have nothing you can do.
When
you're
you get
just
behind
top
the
decking.
Yorion deck, you know, and they're just going to be blinking everything and drawing 6 cards a turn. And,
Sure.
Okay,
Concede.
fine, whatever.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what your life total is. You can concede. But for some of these other decks, like, you are losing valuable lessons. Like, you were throwing them in the garbage. The Brawl player, right? I was literally playing against him, and I tried to outsmart him and outcounter him. And I did. And the rest of that game, I easily could have lost. If
All that happened was you countered
I countered
his
Brawl.
commander.
Who cares? He had 4 lands or 5 or whatever. Like, next turn,
almost just
play it again.
Yeah.
It costs 2. Like, you can do that next turn. How many lands do you think actually ever counter spells I have in my hand? Like, I would have I'm pretty sure I would have lost that game if we kept going. But I was like, free win.
Take it.
There you go. I'll take that.
Yeah.
But just don't let so much stuff get you down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've won a lot of games where I missed a land drop on turn 3. You know, I'm just like, oh wow, this pretty much puts me, you know, way behind. Should I just concede? Then let's just play it, and I eventually win. It's fine.
Exactly. Like, I think a lot of it goes to put more trust in yourself. Like, let it be a time where you can look at the tools that you have and you can get to the place you're trying to go. Like, most of the time, if I'm trying to concede early, I think I made a misplay. I should concede because I did not play perfectly.
The old shame concede. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, both players know this was a mistake. I'm going to concede out of pure shame.
But throw that away, and just keep going and being like, what else can I learn from this match? I learned one thing. What are the next 3 things I'm going to learn? Right?
It's a good way to look at it, right? If you always concede to rogues, whenever you see it's rogues and they get a decent start, you're never going to learn how to play against rogues.
Yeah. Even when Omnath wasn't banned. Even when Omnath and Uro weren't banned.
Yeah.
How do I play against this deck? What is my advantage against this deck? Is there a card I could play that would beat them in the situation? And thinking about all those things, because people did that over and over and over and over and over again and realized that it just wasn't something that could happen, that is when things get banned. But you have to actually put in the work and try.
Yeah.
And I really think that Rogues is in a place that, like, you're okay. Like, it's...
I don't even think Rogues is the best deck.
It's not.
I think it's a good deck.
I think it's a really good deck. And you don't even have to play that really good deck. You can play any other really good deck. Just... This is gone. I saw somebody on Twitter, one of the pros, I can't remember who it was, but they were just talking about playing Historic and picking one deck. Pick the deck and play that deck so many times that you are the expert in the deck.
Right.
Like, we watch other people play and they're amazing, or sometimes you play and you've had a couple bad runs and you're like, this deck's terrible, and you throw it away. If you play the deck so well that you know your deck better than your opponent knows your deck, you will probably be able to best them. If you keep playing,
have the advantage.
You have the advantage. And if you keep playing and know their deck better than they know their deck, That's how I beat auras all the time, because I know their deck better than they do. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And that's how I know which pieces to get rid of and what's important.
Because they probably picked up auras now that it's a really good deck, and you've been playing it since, even when it was tier 2.
Yeah, and I loved it in tier 2 just because it's the strategy I like. And so I really think that, just you really have to sit through it. And even if you know you're going to lose it and slowly each turn it gets worse and worse and worse, you never know.
Right.
We were talking about this earlier. I was playing my auras deck against a blue-white control deck, which I always feel is bad because Narset really hoses my whole strategy. Yeah. I had no Spirit Dancers or Srams, and I ended up sitting through the deck, missing my 3rd land drop, and kept going through Ginger Brutes and Alseid of Life's Bounty, and I ended up being able to stop them from playing a Teferi and winning the game just because I could get around all of the removal and everything that happened. Because I played the deck well, and that was so gratifying. I had to stop and breathe and be like, that was a game. That felt like a real
It's always the best feeling. Yeah.
It was game 3. It was rough. Like, that was a dredge. Like, it was difficult. And I have not felt better about a match probably all year. That was the best match.
And that's what you're looking for when you're
and
playing.
That's what we like playing Magic. Yeah. So stick with it. Don't get beat down.
Right.
And if you are getting beat down, back to our emotes topic. We went on a whole adventure, but I really liked it. I just thought this last one was pretty funny. Thinking about things that you could say when you are not doing a really great job, or something goes wrong, or somebody just curves out so well that you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I really wish I had an emote that just said, I'm in trouble. Like that that Simpsons meme.
Yeah.
Where he's just in the bus. I'm in trouble. I think that would be pretty funny. I don't know if it's
because that's kind of what's happening in my brain.
Exactly. Like I'm like, whew. Or it's the meme where there's the dog in the house and he's like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I wish there was something that could convey that feeling.
Right. When your opponent plays like 4 Burning Tree Emissaries on turn 2.
Followed with like 4 Burning Tree Emissaries with Robber of the Rich. And you're like, okay.
Well,
and you're attacking with Bomat Courier and Robber of the Rich this turn?
Sucker, I'm going to fatal push that robber.
That happens a lot. People really, really hate against that robber. But yeah, anyway, that is basically how we feel about emotes and what we want to see.
I don't think the chat thing's coming, but we can still hope for some.
We will
some
still
sweet
hope.
Emotes.
I think we're going to continue talking about the chat thing until we get it. We're not the kind of people that really berate wizards to do things.
No,
we're hopeful.
Yeah,
we're very hopeful for things like that.
And I don't know if there are any stickers that I can really say I want.
Yeah, I don't really know.
These stickers did such a great job.
They did a really good job. And so if Kaldheim has snow stuff, maybe we get a bunch of snowmen.
Just get the same thing, but
snow
version instead of
And maybe they could be, I don't know, maybe there's one snowman who's really hungry or something and has nothing to do with magic at all. Obviously, I want something that will actually tell my opponent something or be able to communicate, because we can't communicate exactly how I would like. But it is still fun, and I use them quite often.
Yeah. Honestly, the stickers are like my greatest encouragement to buy the Mastery Pass.
They really are. You can't get them any other way.
Yeah.
And do it. They're so much fun. Like, really, when there's a match I'm losing and I get to use stickers, I'm like, this is what I'm doing now. This is the new game. How many cool stickers can I use in the perfect situation? So, but if you want to tell us what you think about the emotes or Arena Etiquette, what you like, what you don't like, any of that stuff, please reach out to us at Arena Regulars on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, and you can find us on MTG Arena. Our username is Arena Regulars Podcast. Throw some respectful stickers and emotes our way.
Yeah, or maybe just some crazy, weird emotes that we don't like.
Yeah, if there are any emotes that we've missed and you use them in a really interesting way against us online, then we'll be forced to talk about them.
Yeah, maybe we'll just say hello, because that's the closest to huh I think we have. Yeah. And also, thank you to our one listener.
Yeah, you know who you are, and you're the best.
You sure are. But with that, cheers and good night. All right, that's fine.